Hey, good Monday morning on this April 7th. It is our debut of Ben at 10 here in the Extol Studios in Uptown New Albany, Indiana. I really want to give a huge thanks to Jason Applegate, owner and operator, and also Angie Fenton. Their partnership here with Extol Weather and launching this Ben at 10. It's been an undertaking here, so really happy to debut it. And you also might hear that my name is Meteorologist Ben Peine. Like the piney scene you see behind me here, that is my actual real name. So a little bit different spelling than what you saw at my previous job. So we're going to cover the river flooding for today. That is obviously the huge story across the area. Then we're going to look at the freeze warning, just a relentless winter into spring, what we've been dealing with. And some of the crests that I'm seeing across the area are near historic. So we're going to take a look at maybe the Kentucky River, the Ohio River, some of the smaller rivers and tributaries. Maybe even take a peek at where it is likely going to be a lot worse downstream towards the mid-Mississippi River Valley. So then we'll look ahead to the freeze warning that we have for tonight for agriculture, gardeners out there. Heads up for tonight as we drop to the 20s, likely with a hard freeze. I'm going to be checking out your comments. Diana, good morning. Thanks for tuning in here at Ben at 10. We're going to look at a little bit of a rain chance Wednesday into Thursday. I don't think that'll aggravate flooding, but it'll be our next more widespread chance of rain, although we might see a sprinkle or two as we head towards sunset this evening with a cold front that'll bring in some of those colder temperatures on the way a little bit later on this evening. Currently, it is chilly out there. And we're also going to look at the 7-day forecast to wrap things up a little bit later in our show. So bringing up the current temperatures first, and then again, we're going to spend a lot of time today on the flooding. Josh Mabe, thanks for watching this morning. And if you have any questions, by the way, we're going to have all the time in the world that you want. If you see something that I haven't shown, feel free to pop in, let me know. This show is all about you, by the way. If there are sort of maps or some data that you're interested in, happy to try to dig that up. And you help me form this show as we go along here, Monday through Friday, Ben at 10. By the way, you're going to find me on Meteorologist Ben Peine page. Right now, it's still spelled the old way, P-I-N-E. I'm sure that will change eventually once Facebook does that. And also on Extol Media YouTube Live. So just go to YouTube, search Extol Media, E-X-T-O-L. What does Extol mean? It means to celebrate, highly praise Southern Indiana and beyond. So, of course, our focus on Southern Indiana, but you're going to see maps that go far and wide, sometimes across the entire United States. So I want to go ahead and go full screen here as we look at our current conditions. And what we're seeing is just a chilly start. So, yeah, we've had the cooler air win out. We needed that so we could get all that rain out of the way. Finally, full force sunshine across the area. I don't think we've seen a fully sunny sky perhaps this month. Even April 2nd, before the rain came and we were 84 degrees, we were cloudy most of the day. So it's been a while since we've seen the beautiful sunshine out there. Hopefully you're enjoying that. Tracy Brewer checking in. Good morning to you. And Kathy Willis, thanks for watching here this morning as well. So again, we've got full screen temperatures out there, current reading at 39 degrees. Looks like we dropped to around 36 for the official low at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport this morning. Now it's going to be colder tonight as that cold front zips through late this afternoon. Probably starting to see maybe a sprinkle or two showing up in southern Indiana. I would say 7 o'clock or so. Looking at some of the readings here, we're going to be starting to make our way into the 40s. And with that sunshine today, north wind around 10 to 15, we'll make it up to near 60 degrees, which is about 7 degrees or so below normal for this time of the year. So a little bit on the cool side out there. But I do want to give you some good news. And some of this good news is at extolmag.com, by the way. And go to extolmag.com. You can find the weather section right there. Or you can just put in extolmag.com/weather. We'll have our live stream up there every day, and then you can click right here to the big old 7-day forecast, Southern Indiana's weather source right here. Average high temperature, you can see bottom left, 67 degrees. Normal low temperature, 46. So we were about 10 degrees below normal or earlier this morning. Meredith Peine, thanks for tuning in. My sister-in-law right there. April, thanks. Good morning to you. Lots of good mornings here this morning. Again, I'm checking over the comments as I'm also presenting the weather to you. So I'll go back and forth as we go. Rita Harmon, good morning. Loving to see that sunshine. And Gail Etherton, good morning to you. God bless to you as well. So thanks for tuning in here. Back to the 7-day forecast. Sunrise now is at 7:17, sunset at 8:13. Today, we're going to be up to around 60. This 7-day forecast, we always start it the next day. So this is going to be your Tuesday, your first day there. Sunshine, 50 degrees. Tonight, we're down to the upper 20s. So we're talking a hard freeze. That's why there's a freeze warning. Tomorrow night's low, near freezing. So that 33, probably more like kind of in your downtown communities. Once you get outside in the surrounding areas, the countryside, we might touch the upper 20s again in some spots. So there could be a little patchy frost for tomorrow night as well. Wednesday, we've got a 40% chance of some spotty showers. That's going to be late afternoon, most likely the best chance for that. And the best chance, we're going to see that on the model data here in just a minute as we map that out, that midweek rain chance. But it looks like that'll be coming over the northern half of the area, north of 64 mainly, with a high back to around 61 degrees. 65 on Thursday with some scattered showers. I don't think either day is a washout. So if you do have some things you want to get done, maybe putting some fertilizer out, we're still going to have some dry periods there. Definitely not like the washout that we had over the last several days. And then Friday, there could be a lingering sprinkle in the morning, but that system should be pulling out. We're a little cooler again, 57 for the high Friday, down to 38 Friday night. And then this weekend, thankfully, looks lovely here for us. Unfortunately, of course, we all know thunder canceled with the safety concerns with the really, really high Ohio River. Again, we'll check all those river level gauges here in just a moment. And you can follow along with those river level gauges at water.noaa.gov, water.noaa.gov. We'll go to those web pages here in a second, look at the latest, and look at some of the historic crests as well. We'll kind of compare and contrast where we're at now compared to some of the historic crests we've seen. A lot of them are comparing to what we had 2018, about 7 years ago, which was the highest since 1997. And then Sunday, we're looking at 68 degrees, so it looks like we're in good shape for whatever you might have planned this weekend. Just got to watch out for some cleanup near the riverbanks. It's going to be a while to clean up for sure. And then Monday, it looks like we'll finally get back into the 70s, up to around 74 degrees. So let's pivot here, and we're going to be talking about the Ohio River and, again, some of the smaller river systems as well. The Kentucky River is almost near the floodwalls there in Frankfort. It is very, very close to the highest it's ever been recorded. So that's why you hear the word historic with some of the river levels that it's top 10 so far, it looks like, for the Ohio River upper gauge in downtown Louisville. But as you look here on the left side of your screen, again, this is water.noaa.gov. The purple squares, those are major river levels. So that's the river levels that have gone into major flood stage. Red is moderate. Moderate's where we have the Ohio River flowing through Louisville, through New Albany right now and downstream. So it looks like the flooding could be a little bit worse for some areas downstream where the Ohio River comes into the Mississippi River. All got to go somewhere, all of this heavy rainfall that we picked up for a long time here. So the right side of your screen, that's the Rolling Fork. I just had that one popped up a second ago near Boston, Kentucky. That is deep into the major flood stage and is cresting now. Some of the smaller river systems are going to be cresting now and gradually falling here over the next couple of days and then back to below flood stage later this week. The mighty Ohio River is going to be staying in moderate flood stage probably all the way through Thursday, getting into minor flood stage later on this weekend. So speaking of the Ohio River, here's the McAlpin upper gauge. I'll go ahead and bring this up full screen. I'll get my face out of the way so you can see it a little bit better. So right now we're at 33 feet and the forecast crest, and it's kind of a slow, gradual crest and just hangs way up there for several days. But it looks like the peak is at 36.2 feet. So kind of keep that number in mind, 36 feet. As we go down here to the historic crests, of course, 1937 is the highest, 52 feet, and that was back in 1937. That's before the Ohio Valley had the protection that took about 40 years to develop all along the Ohio River, and lakes were built to help control the Ohio River after that. Back in the 1940s, they started that program, and it continued again for about 40 years to help control the Ohio River. And then up to 38 feet. So it looks like we're going to stay a couple feet below that. That was 1997. We were up to 38.76. And then again, at the forecast crest on the upper gauge, that's downtown Louisville, at a little bit over 36 feet. That would put us right about 9th on the historic crest list here for the upper gauge. And as we go a little bit farther, on the left side of your screen here, we're going to see the flood impacts at the level that we're expecting. So at 36 feet, 11th Street is closed at the floodgates. We've got at 34 feet, which we're approaching right now, Bingham Way is closed at the floodgate. Water floods East Riverside Road near Fisherman's Wharf in Jeffersonville. We're already past 32, so we already know some of the impacts that are already occurring. 2nd Street floodgate closed. Utica Pike floods at Duffy's Landing in Jeff. Parts of Utica, Indiana flooding. We know that if you've been around there. And of course, we're seeing some of that water getting up to the levees. And so that is the upper gauge. I want to go here to the lower gauge. So below the locks and dam, we are at almost 65 feet here currently. That is forecast to go up to almost 68 feet. And again, that crest is going to be basically tonight into tomorrow and into Wednesday. And notice we stay in moderate flood stage, it looks like, all the way into 2 p.m. Friday. That's the official forecast here, before gradually making our way back into minor flood stage. So it looks like we'll be flooding through the weekend, as it's just going to be a slow drop. We've seen the Ohio River drop a lot faster than this, and that's just not going to be the case. All right, keep that number in mind, 67.9 feet crest for the lower gauge, the Ohio River, so almost 68 feet. We look at the historic crests, again, 1937, the highest. We go down the list here a little bit to number 12 is 67 feet. That was in 2018. So for the lower gauge, we're very similar to what we had 7 years ago there. So right around almost top 10 or so. So we look at the impacts here as we get over 67 feet. You've got Blackiston Mill Road flooding at Silver Creek. I drove over Silver Creek this morning. Saw it very high there. That's in Clarksville. 66 feet, where we're approaching pretty soon. Lock is closed. Floodgates at Riverport are closed. 65 feet, parts of Dixie Highway, US 31 West floods from the Snyder interchange to West Point. Salt River comes in out that direction too. It just turns into a huge lake out that area. And then riverfront parks in Clarksville and New Albany begin to flood at 65 feet. Already have Overbrook Road flooding south of Lake Dreamland, and 111 floods upstream of Bridgeport. So we're closing in on 65 feet at the moment. Now, as we zoom in a little bit closer to some of the other rivers, the East Fork of the White River, I showed some video of that thanks to my sister-in-law, my brother. Had some family in town for my mom's 75th birthday this weekend, and they were coming down from Indianapolis, and it was just miles of flooded. That is a frequent flooder, by the way, but this nonetheless is certainly more than usual. It's in major flood stage, the East Fork of the White River. It's currently at 19 feet. So all those fields, we could just guess, are going to take quite a while to drop. Now, the Blue River, a smaller river system, has already crested at Fredericksburg. So it was well into minor flood stage, 22 feet. It is now heading back to the normal levels there. So you've got some of the smaller river systems already starting to improve. I mentioned the Kentucky River at Frankfort. This has been in the news here lately. It is in major flood stages, currently at 48.2 feet. It is at its crest right now, and then expecting to drop as we head over the next several days. It was getting kind of nervous there in Frankfort, because if we bring up the full gauge, it was getting close to the top, basically, of the flood wall in downtown Frankfort, just north of Frankfort. So as we look here at the historic crest, let's keep in mind again, 48.2 feet. And that is number 2 on the list. The highest the Kentucky River cresting is 48.47. We're just below that now. That was back in 1978. So we're number 2 on the list for historic crests there in Frankfort, Kentucky. And so as we are sitting there at 48 feet, areas outside of the flood wall are covered. Many county roads are closed. We didn't get up to 51 feet, but that's where the water reaches the top of the protection there in North Frankfort. And just above that, water reaches the top of protection in South Frankfort. So blessing there that we say just below that there in Frankfort. So that is a lot on the flooding that we have occurring right now. And again, it's going to take a bit here for several days, obviously, to get back into minor flood stage for the Ohio River downtown. It looks like that'll be eventually this weekend. Going to go ahead and bring up our weather models here for you. And we'll get back to some current conditions. We're going to look ahead to our freeze warning. It was a watch. It's now a warning. So we do believe we're going to have 20s for tonight. So you want to protect any sensitive plants out there. Maybe we got a little eager to put some of those plants out there, and they're going to need to be protected. Unfortunately, we've got magnolia blooms in the front yard. We're seeing some flowers coming up, and they might get frostbite a little bit here for tonight. Just want to peruse some of the comments that I haven't seen just yet. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all of your support, by the way, over the last several weeks. It's been overwhelming with all the comments, and I really appreciate that. Beverly Haggis from Borden, thanks for tuning in here. We've got Janet Flights, yay sunshine. We're all happy to finally see the sun. It was like Seattle for like, what is it, 4 or 5 days straight, it seemed like, since April 2nd. Janet Youngblood from Madison, Indiana, thanks for tuning in there. A lot of flooding around your area. Mary Dale, good morning to you. Diana Hall, thank God for the sunshine. We all agree. Angela, thanks for tuning in. Good morning to you. Electa Taylor from Sellersburg. Clara Matthews, good morning. Wyatt Wright from the PRP Valley Station area, a budding meteorologist who got to shadow me one day not too long ago. Sarah Humphreys, thanks for tuning in. Chris Bensing, Andre Goatley, thanks for all of your support throughout all these years, Andre. Lillian Lasley, have a great day. Edward Jewell, thanks for tuning in here. So again, if you have any weather questions, I can try to bring up a different map than I've got planned to bring up. So definitely feel free to comment, and I'll be checking over some of those comments here on my Facebook page. We're also going to be streaming, of course, on Xtol Media on the YouTube page. So head to YouTube, search Xtol Media. You'll find the live stream there as well. All right, so we'll go back to full screen, and we're going to bring up some weather models here for you to look ahead at the freezing temperatures for tonight. Right now, I've got the NAM 3-kilometer pulled up. I'm going to go ahead and go back to full screen. We'll get my face out of the way there, and we'll look ahead at some of these temperatures on the way for tonight and into the afternoon. So this is, we'll go ahead and jump ahead here. Today is the 7th. So we're going to go to this afternoon. We'll go 4 p.m. and look at some of the temperatures we're expecting for later on today. I'm going to go ahead and take off the METARs here. I'm going to take those off if we can. They might stay up for a little bit. Not a big bother there, but all right, there they go. So we're looking at 50s for most this afternoon. It's going to be a little bit warmer out to the west where you see those blue colors. But I think we in Louisville and downtown New Albany, Jeff, you might touch 60 degrees with that sunshine, but a lot of the day in the 50s, so maybe a sweatshirt, light jacket, we're in good shape. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to the overnight when we have the freeze warning. So right at or just before sunrise tomorrow morning, this is when it's going to be coldest early tomorrow morning. We'll have that hard freeze across the area. So as you see these numbers, this again is the NAM 3 kilometers showing anywhere from like 25 to 30 degrees depending on your location. A little bit chillier eastern Kentucky, down over towards the bluegrass, maybe just slightly milder in a few areas, but all below freezing. So that's the model data there. Most of our short range weather models are showing our temperatures in the 20s as we get started tomorrow morning. So Might be kind of a little bit of a, I know it was chilly this morning, maybe a little bit of shock because we were used to the milder weather, that we might just need to get that heater going in the car and bundle up more as we get started, and again, protecting that sensitive vegetation out there. So that is the freeze warning tonight into tomorrow morning. Now I'm going to jump ahead with the weather models, and we'll probably look at the GFS for this. Look at the future radar. Actually, I want to look first at later this afternoon. You can see all the mess that we had is now off to the east, and this is going to be looking ahead here. Let me back up our weather model data to just a little bit more. Let's go to now. So this is the NAM 3 kilometer again, and not much happening obviously around our area with full force sunshine. We'll take the radar and satellites. Actually, let's just do that real quick and then we'll come back. So this is going to be the current radar and satellite view. Look at that lovely clearing that we've had for the first time in a long time. Most of April has just been a cloud-filled sky, but now you can see all of that mess starting to spread off to the east. Good riddance to all of that rain that has just, again, provided just incredible historic flooding conditions around our region. And as we expand out our view, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the full screen so you can see a little bit better, and then I'll go full screen here as well. So look out west, really quiet conditions until you hit the Pacific Northwest. And then up to the north of us, we do have a cold front. We have dry air that's been punching in here this morning, giving us the clearing sky. But eventually, what we see up to the north is going to swing in here very, very late afternoon at the soonest. It looks like maybe around 7, 8 o'clock. And that's when we'll have a chance for maybe a sprinkle or very brief rain shower if we can get enough moisture for that front that's going to be moving through later on this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and go back here, and we'll go back to the weather model data and look ahead to our sprinkle chance for this afternoon into the evening time, and then we'll look ahead to our midweek Wednesday, Thursday time frame of some rainfall. Again, our midweek rain chance, some scattered showers, ½ inch or less it looks like. So I don't want anybody to freak out about more flooding with that. I don't think that's going to aggravate the ongoing flooding. It's just going to be too light that we have later. So back to our future radar here as we look ahead. So that's where we're at now. We're going to go to later this afternoon and click on the reflectivity. It just needs to reload some of the data here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to this afternoon. We'll start at maybe, let's say 3 o'clock. Not much happening. 4 o'clock. And some of the weather models are perhaps just drying out. There it is, kind of popping up late afternoon. So and this could be a little bit overdone. We'll kind of wait and see. But it looks like some of the latest data showing this rain chance dropping into near Seymour, Highway 50 areas, Highway 56, getting near Austin, possibly Scottsburg as we head toward 6, 7 o'clock. There you can see. So it's going to be moving pretty quickly. This is just barely a nuisance. It may only last 10 minutes if you get a sprinkle out of this. Very, very, very thin line of some very light precipitation, but it's still going to be fighting some of that dry air, thankfully, that has been moving into the area today. So there you can see that along the Ohio River, bumping up to the Ohio River. This is this top left screen. I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is at around 7 p.m., very brief shower chance. Of course, that won't do anything to hurt the flooding that we have across the area. It's going to be so brief and so light. You see it moving through Metro Louisville into Kentucky. This is around 8 o'clock. And then here is 9 p.m., starting to move along and south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways, and then starting to move out of the area a little bit later this evening. That is the cold front that is going to give us the colder temperatures tonight and give us the freeze warning conditions through early tomorrow morning. I'm going to need to switch this into a longer range weather model. I'll go to the GFS high resolution. This is going to take us, we're going to jump ahead to Wednesday. That'll be our next chance for some showers. And before I do, well, let me go ahead and go to that. So we're looking at the 10th. Is that correct? Wednesday? I've got Jason Applegate to my left here, by the way. He's just in case I messed this whole thing up. We've got some backup here. So we'll see. Let's get the reflectivity back on with the GFS weather model. And eventually we should be able to, we're going to be popping in some showers midweek. 10th is Thursday, so I need to back up to the 9th. We'll go to the 9th afternoon. So we'll back that up a little bit more. So if you do have plans Wednesday, it looks like the first half of the day is going to be the best. So I'm going to back this up even more. So there you can see this is kind of the beginning of the next system. Just looking over some comments here. Thanks, Mary Netherly, for tuning in. Good morning to you. Lots of good mornings. It is a good morning. I was heading out this morning early before sunrise, and I could see that sky clearing, and knew that was going to be a big improvement to the conditions that we've had across the area lately. So good morning to Mary Ridge. Again, thanks for your comments, questions, suggestions. This is your show. If you want anything answered, you got any questions, that's what we're here for. And heading back to our midweek rain chance. Again, we've covered the current conditions. We've already covered the flooding. If you miss anything, by the way, this is all going to be recorded. It will be hosted on Xtol Media on YouTube, on xtolmag.com/weather, and then also on Xtol Weather. Please like or share any of those posts. Of course, that'll help get us to more folks and keep this thing going. And Xtol Weather is on Facebook. We'll be hosting different clips and the full-length video there as well. So if you miss anything, it won't take much time where you can see the full video there. Amber Haggis, good morning, watching from Charlestown. And Gail Lemons, thank you for tuning in as well. I'll go back to full screen here as we have now jumped ahead to midweek. So we've got the sunshine today. We might get that brief sprinkle, light rain shower chance around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. tonight with a cold front. We've got the freeze warning. Tomorrow we've got sunshine, and we're going to be up to around 50 degrees. So cooler sunshine for our Tuesday, but at least it will be sunny. We'll have the blue skies to enjoy out there. And then Wednesday, clouds will start to increase into the afternoon. I've got this paused at 8 a.m. Wednesday morning. We're going to 11 a.m. So into the afternoon, the weather model data is starting to show a chance for some spotty rain showers, especially along and north of Interstate 64. Southern half staying drier for longer. And it does not look like it's going to be anything real heavy, just enough to be kind of a nuisance for our Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. This is stopped at 5 p.m. Again, most of this you can see trailing along and north of 64. This is at 8 p.m. Wednesday. And Wednesday, we make it back up to around 60 degrees, and we'll be in the 60s, it looks like, as we'll have some showers continuing into our Thursday, kind of off and on. This should begin to move out by early Friday and leave us with a beautiful weekend. And in case you missed it early on, some of you tuning in, of course, a little bit later through our live stream, we'll go back to the 7-day forecast. I'll show you where you can find that at any time as well. All right, here is going into the overnight Wednesday and into Thursday with, it looks like that's kind of so far the best chance of rain is late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, more widespread across the area. This is at 5 a.m. early Thursday morning. Then that kind of moves off for a little bit. I think we'll have some dry time Thursday. So if you do have to outside work or outside play, we might have some time to do that for the first part of Thursday. As we get deeper into Thursday afternoon, there you can see it. Yeah, we've got some more rain starting to creep in from the west. It's a kind of a disorganized system. It's not strong, not expecting severe weather. At best, we might get a few rumbles of thunder, so we can kind of get rid of those concerns. And again, I don't think this will cause any more flooding for the area. Janet Stoll, thanks for tuning in here this morning. Boyd Whitlow, good morning. Glad you're on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in there on YouTube or on this Facebook page. Either one works for sure. Mary, wondering if it's too early to predict Derby weather. So yeah, I mean, you go past 7 days, you're going to get a lot of errors in the weather model data. So it's kind of like that butterfly effect, the chaos theory. Eventually, the mathematics just aren't going to be doing too well. But as we head into early May, we certainly hope for improvements. I think we'll still see a couple little ups and downs over the next couple of weeks. And then hopefully by that time we start to settle into a warmer weather pattern. But as we know, it can be a variety of weather conditions, not only Derby weekend, but the week ahead. We can sometimes have sleet. We can have 90-degree days. So that is May, late April into May, kind of one of the craziest times of the year. So hopefully, I think we deserve, obviously, a calmer weather pattern for the big events coming up through the Kentucky Derby Festival leading up to the Kentucky Derby. But a little past 7-day forecast, you don't want to touch too much, but we'll look at the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center, before we wrap things up as well. And look at, they often look kind of in general what the weather pattern is going to be like, whether it's cooler than normal or warmer than normal. All right. I got off on a little tangent there. We'll get back to early Thursday, our next chance for some showers. Maybe, again, a rumble of thunder with this. Not concerned with severe weather. This is 11 p.m. Thursday. So I'll back up here, and we'll go through Thursday again. So we might have first half of Thursday mostly dry. That's the trend right now here with the GFS weather model. Then you can see that rain starting to move in at 8 p.m. And then a little more coverage of these scattered showers Thursday night. And then by Friday morning, we're trying to get this to scoot on out of here. So there's 8 a.m. Friday morning. Might be a little kind of back-end drizzle left over, kind of lingering a little bit early Friday. We're going to have some chillier temperatures starting to move in Friday as well. And it looks like we'll be back down to highs in the 50s. So there is the dry weather that we have on Friday. And then I'm going to try to bring up the temperature maps here for Friday. Now, a lot of times, some of the raw weather model data this far out is, I would say, a little cooler than normal. But this is looking at Friday morning, and it's showing temperatures in the 40s, probably a little bit cooler than it'll actually be. I'm going to go to our Friday afternoon temps. And it's only showing around 50 degrees. My forecast is 57. So again, that raw data, often just a little bit cooler than what's actually going to happen. But basically, it's showing you that we definitely have another cool down on the way before the weekend. I'm just kind of backing up the view. So where is the warm weather? That's out to the west. So this again is the GFS temperatures across the United States. You can see this little pocket, this dip in the jet stream for Friday. And if you want that warmth, it is out to the west. But we do have a gradual warming trend as we head into the weekend. I'll go ahead and jump into, we'll jump ahead a little bit farther here. So this should be our Saturday at 5 p.m. Still a little bit on the cool side. And then Sunday, I've got upper 60s in that forecast. So there we go. That's what we're looking for. There you can see the warmer air starting to gradually spread back to the Ohio Valley and heating up down over the parts of the deep south as well. Let me just kind of tilt our view here. See that a little bit better. So again, conservative on the numbers here. I'm going about 68 on Sunday. You can see at late afternoon. Typically, we see a high temperature for Sunday showing 60s here. And then summertime warmth. Look at that, heating up into the 90s there over Texas, Oklahoma, and into Kansas. So big time heat. So this is the time of the year. It is a battleground season. It's a transition season, springtime, where you've got summer wanting to come up from the south, a little leftover winter to the north, and then you just have, again, the battleground that we had over the last 4 or 5 days, unfortunately, with that stationary front giving us anywhere from, I've seen about 8 inches in Louisville, parts of southern Indiana, and then up to well over a foot of rainfall for areas southwest of Louisville, Grayson County especially, picking up way, way too much rainfall. So that's kind of the temperature trend. I'll jump this ahead to Monday afternoon, and that's when we're hoping for some 70s to spread our way. I know, again, it's very conservative with those numbers there, but it looks like right now, I am optimistic heading for the lower 70s by Monday. It's going to take a little while to get there, of course. So that is a lot of the data there. There's the forecast. I'm just looking over some of the questions here. Good morning, John Fox. So John was in logistics with Jeff Boat, and I was texting him yesterday about the barge traffic, which has been shut down. And John, feel free to chime in here. I guess they can run when they're in flood stage as long as it stays pretty level, but if we get a lot of rise or fall, then they have to shut down the barge traffic again. Then you've got backup barge traffic from worse flooding downstream. So just interesting to me to learn more about how that barge traffic works. And then as far as recreational activities, boating on the Ohio River, man, you just have to watch out for quite a bit of debris ongoing for quite some time with the very high Ohio River. We got Mary Netherly just checking. Good morning, Pamela Nolan. Thanks for watching here this morning. Beverly Haggis just subscribed to our YouTube channel. Yeah, thanks for subscribing, liking, sharing. That's going to help us keep going and growing on our Extol weather and Extol media. And Ben at 10 every morning, Monday through Friday. You'll find us here at 10 o'clock in the morning. Just looking over some of the comments again. John says, correct. Looks like it will be stopped for a while with a slow fall. We're talking about the barge traffic. It looks like we're in moderate flood stage with the upper gauge all the way through Friday, and then starting to drop into minor flood stage perhaps this weekend. Amber talking about on the globe, can you explain where the water goes if it all goes south, like on the globe? Something I was pondering on my way to school this morning. So water is going to go to the lowest point thanks to gravity. Doesn't really have anything to do with what part of the globe you're in necessarily, but all routes tend to usually go to the ocean, except you've got water that flows into the Great Lakes as well. Obviously, you got lakes that fill up with water and that kind of stops there. Then you got water that goes out into the oceans. Our river systems, the Missouri, the Ohio River, regionally go into the Mississippi River. The barges take that. A lot of times they'll take that corn all the way down to Louisiana and then take that all the way out to Asia. So a lot of the corn that's grown around here goes to other parts of the world thanks to our river systems. But you're going to go from high to low with water. So if you go into southern Kentucky, Tennessee, that water is going to go south and it comes back north into Kentucky, Barkley Lake. They can take barges through there and eventually back to the Ohio River. So definitely high to low with water, not necessarily north, south, east, west on what part of the globe you're on. Hopefully that makes some sense. Carla Lake, home for an NTI day today. So happy to get to see your debut. Thanks for watching from home, Carla. Yeah, a lot of schools had 2-hour delays. I know a lot of superintendents and transportation bosses at local school districts have been busy because of all the different flooding. My son's friends out in the Borden Valley have been kind of stuck on little islands as the Muddy Fork was expanding outside of the riverbanks. It has gone down a bit more, but it's going to take a while for a lot of these fields to dry out. So thanks again for your comments there. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our 7-day forecast that I promised to kind of wrap things all up. And right now we are at 10:38. So we've been going on for about 40 minutes here. That's the flooding map. Again, if you want, that is an awesome resource. They redid this website if you're interested in some of the river levels not too long ago. It's very interactive. There's a ton of information. And that is water.noaa.gov, water.noaa.gov. So check that out. And then as we bring up, and again, I'll just give a shout out to the National Weather Service real quick. They've got the freeze warning maps up there. Weather.gov has a lot of resources as well. And then we've put a lot of resources onto the Extol weather page. The genius that is behind Jason Applegate putting together this website with me. I've got a lot of favorites. I like to know what the severe weather outlook is going to be. I'll get back to the 7-day forecast. That's where we'll finish things off. But I want to get to some of the resources we have at extolmag.com/weather. Or you can just go to Extol Mag, click on weather. So you're going to find the Storm Prediction Center's day 1, day 2 outlooks here at the website. You're going to find Regional radars. There's also an interactive radar that is free to use, and it is awesome. So you can zoom out wherever you want to go. And you can also put on temperatures and winds. So wherever, if you're on vacation, wherever you want to go, you can zoom in with the high resolution radar. I was using this when we had severe storms moving through, because not only do the severe thunderstorms pop up and the tornado warnings, you can actually click on them and it brings up all of the information there for you. So it's got alerts on there. We can pop in the temperatures across the area and across the United States. And it's got lightning data, storm tracks. You can loop, you can animate, and make it very interactive there. So that is the interactive radar. That's kind of, as you scroll down the second half of xstolmag.com/weather, you're going to find that interactive radar there for you. I want to thank our partners as well. They've already partnered up. Libs Paving, Weddington Custom Homes, and we've got Lions Roofing that is already helping my mom's roof, and I believe Jason's roof as well, with the windstorm and the hailstorm that we had recently. New Washington State Bank, amazing partnership with Xtol Media and Xtol Magazine too. So thank you guys for partnering up here with us on Xtol Weather. So we got our live stream here, and here is the 7-day forecast. We'll go ahead and bring this up full screen there for you. I already put that together this morning. We're going to start these 7-day forecasts on the next day. We've got the weather story just below the 7-day forecast that'll give you more details on what's happening today. We dive a little bit deeper into what's happening, showing you some of the temperatures or the future radar maps. And so here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Today we're looking at 60 degrees. Outside the cities, we're looking at probably 50s. North wind 10 to 15, might gust to 20 this afternoon as that front gets a little bit closer. There's that sprinkle chance towards around 7 p.m. Very, very brief chance. And then tomorrow, 50 degrees there on the left side of your screen. That's tomorrow, sunshine, blue skies, beautiful day out there. North wind around 5 to 10. So yeah, a little bit of a nip in the air, but jacket, we're in good shape. Light winds there. We need these dry days for sure. We're down to 33 tomorrow night, so we might have a frost advisory, maybe not the freeze warning. So I do want to kind of describe that a little bit. The reason why you see a freeze warning and a freeze watch this time of the year, it happens 2 different times of the year. You get it toward the end of the growing season and the beginning of the growing season. It's called the Frost and Freeze Program, and they're just alerting you to the fact that freezing temperatures can damage sensitive vegetation and agriculture. Once we get past the threat of frost and freezes, you're no longer going to see that, obviously. And then in the fall, as we get closer to fall, usually October, we start to get our first frost and freezes. Once we get a hard freeze, the frost freeze program is done because the vegetation is killed off. So there's only a couple times a year you see the frost advisories or frost warnings or the freeze warnings. This time of the year, typically in early spring, and then again as we get closer to the fall season as well. All right, back to the 7-day forecast. I'll go back to full screen here for you. We've got a 40% chance of some spotty showers for late Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. I think that's along and north of 64, mainly northern half of the area is 61 degrees. So back into some 60s here midweek. Some spotty showers around Thursday. If you were here tuning in a little bit earlier, we saw most of that rain moving in Thursday evening. I think the first half is mostly dry. And of course, day by day, we're going to be fine tuning that more and more. Right now, we're not quite into the high resolution weather model data for Thursday, but we'll get there. But right now, the timing looks like a kind of late day into the evening time for Thursday. And then Friday, we should see that system moving out, maybe a leftover lingering drizzle, little sprinkles early on Friday, 57 there. 60 on Saturday and dry, and then upper 60s on Sunday, and then we're hoping for some 70s to return next Monday. So there you go. There's the 7-day forecast. I feel like we've covered almost everything here as we're now up to 10:44, about 45 minutes. So we've certainly had a lot to talk about with the Ohio River flooding. Of course, there are going to be times things settle down. They're going to be a lot quieter. We're going to make this super interactive. Our Ben at 10 every morning, 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. I'll be able to basically send a link to anybody, get anybody in here, let's say like John Fox, the expert on the Ohio River, or my daughter, or my son, or my wife, or anybody, and we'll be able to have some fun here, do some double boxes, and communicate back and forth. I'm just, again, checking out some of the recent comments that have been popping in here. And if I miss any comments, once this is stopped, I'll be checking on them and responding a little bit later this morning or this afternoon too. Carolyn Tash from Memphis, Indiana. Thanks for watching there. I know around Memphis, there's been a lot of flooding on some of the rivers there and the creeks flowing through your area lately, but it's hopefully going down now. Been a lot of road closures throughout all of our southern Indiana counties. And so hopefully a lot of those road closed signs are hopefully getting moved already or soon. So Joanne Penn, how far will the river go up as of today? Yes, I do know. And I know you're just popping in a little bit later. We started with all the Ohio River stuff, so we can go back and revisit that before we wrap things up. John Fox, you're awesome. Thanks for all you've done with the barges throughout the years. Okay, so let's go ahead and help out Joanne. We're going to bring up, this is water.noaa.gov, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up full screen so you can see it. So purple is major flood stage, red is moderate flood stage. So this is downtown. This is the McAlpin upper gauge, and it's going to load on the right side of your screen here. I'm actually going to bring up the full screen page, and there's so much information on this page. So Joanne, where are we at now? Where are we going with the Ohio River as of today and into the rest of this week? So right now, we're at 33.65 feet. Keep in mind, normal pool is at 12 feet. So we're like, what are we, about 24 feet above flood stage at the peak? So the crest is at 36 feet. Normal pool is 12. Do a little math there. We're about 24 feet above where the normal levels are supposed to be for the Ohio River. So right now we're about 21 feet above normal stage. Minor flood stage is at 23 feet, and 30 feet is moderate flood stage. 33 feet is where we're at, and the crest is going to be several days just staying up there in the moderate flood stage for a while here. So we're looking at that at 36 feet. That looks like it's going to be number 9, as if you're looking at history here on the historic crests. So we're at 36.2 is the current official forecast for the Ohio River. And if we look at the historic Ohio River crest, 1937, 52 feet. Now, a lot of these before the 1940s are before a lot of the flood wall systems, miles and miles of flood walls and levees, and also lakes that were made over a period of 40 years to try to control the mighty Ohio River. In 1997 at 38.76 feet, so we're looking at a crest at 36.2 feet, and so that looks like if that happens, that'll beat number 9 on the historic crest downtown at 36 feet, and that was back on April 19th, 1948. So I hope that answers your question there, Joanne. Kathy, you're the best. Thanks for tuning in here. Thank you guys so much for watching our live stream. Thank you so much again to Xtol Media here in the Xtol Studios in Uptown New Albany. Thank you, Angie Fenton, Jason Applegate, owners and operators, and putting all of this together. Love the partnership. And of course, if you want to reach out, if you want to become a partner, you can go to xtolmag.com. There's contacts there. You can reach me, Ben, at xtolmagazine.com. If you have pictures you want to share, you can go to Indiana Skies on Facebook. Check that out. There's already been a lot of interaction there. Please share your flooding photos when it's safe to do so. If it's a beautiful blue sky, we just want to see something nice on our Facebook page, then you can go to Indiana Skies and share a nice picture, whatever you want to share there. Again, that is a group that's public, and we'll be sharing some of those photos down the road as well. Again, just some of the ways you can reach out to us. Meteorologist Ben Peine, by the way. That is my real last name, just like the piney scene that you see behind me here on Ben at 10. And then subscribe to our YouTube page, Xtol Media. Go to YouTube, search Xtol Media. and then Extol Weather on Facebook. So we're trying to get to everybody. Thanks for tuning in from wherever you're at. And that'll wrap it up. Thanks for joining us on our debut, Ben at 10 on this Monday here, April 7th. We'll see you tomorrow morning. You guessed it, at 10 a.m.